Hey guys, it's Jessie and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another monthly reading wrap up. I feel like I look really white and like pale and washed out on this camera. I can't tell why. I think something's gone wrong with the settings, but we're just going to ignore it. But today we are going to be sharing all of the books that I read in August. This was definitely my best reading month yet. In August I read 23 books, which I was super proud about. So first things first, I'm going to go through my little statistics on my story graph because it gives me a nice little roundup of what I've done each month. So as I said before, I'll put it in here so you can see it. I read 23 books this month and 7,578 pages, which is a lot. Mainly funny, light-hearted, emotional and hopeful books. Don't know what that really means. And then pace wise, kind of half of them were fast paced, about 40% medium and 13% slow. Page numbers, as always, mainly 300 to 499. I feel like that's just kind of my golden point for books really. But I did read a few more novellas than normal. Fiction, literally one book was non-fiction, so that's why it's so highly fiction. And then genres, as always, romance, contemporary, young adult, LGBTQIA, graphic novels on there because I read Heartstopper this month. So yeah, that wouldn't normally be on there, but that's what I read this month. And then format wise, half of them were regular like print books and then 39% digital, which means either on my Kindle Unlimited app or how I read Heartstopper was on Tapas, which is online. And then 9% audiobooks. Then we have star ratings. This month it was quite mixed. I'd say slightly lower than normal, but towards the end of the month I did like the books a lot more. My average star rating was 3.25 and you can see how my reading kind of dipped along the month here. So I read 7,578 pages. The last 2 days I was reading Heartstopper, so that's why it looks so high, because you get through those books really quickly. So without further ado, I'm going to just chat firstly about the 4 books on my TBR that I didn't get round to this month. So firstly we have the one that I am currently reading right now. I'm doing this as part of a readathon. So this is How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. I'm only on the 2nd chapter, I believe. I read the prologue and 1st chapter, and this is okay. It's not gripped me as much as I thought, but again, I'm literally on the 1st chapter, so I can't really blame it for that. But overall I am enjoying it so far. I think it's quite a fun book. Obviously we will see where it goes, but I'm just going to put that onto my TBR for next month. And then the 3 books that I didn't read were If We Were Villains, Vicious and Where the Crawdads Sing. I did think I was going to get around to this one, and if I hadn't have read like extra books this month, like a few were released and then I bought some new ones that I wanted to read straight away, if that hadn't have happened then I probably would have got round to it, but I didn't, so I'm just going to pop these back on my shelf. Those probably won't be going on my TBR for next month just because I already have kind of some videos planned out that I want to do. But now moving on to the actual books that I did read, the 22 books. I'm going to go in chronological order of when I read them because it just makes more sense to me. So the first book we have was Without Merit. I read this for my reading Colleen Hoover books for a week video and I finished this one on the 1st of August. This is basically about Merit and her family. They're quite dysfunctional and there's a bit of romance in here, but I didn't really like the romance in it. It was more kind of unraveling family secrets, I guess. I gave this one a 2.75 stars. I thought it was an interesting book, but I think it was kind of more marketed a little bit as a romance, but I didn't really see that. I was like interested in kind of what the secrets were that were being unraveled, I guess, but besides that I wasn't really a huge fan of this book. I didn't really love it that much, so 2.75 for me. Then again, we're going to go through a few Colleen Hoover books. We have Point of Retreat, which is the 2nd book in the Slammed series. I quite like Slammed, but this one I just felt was a bit more boring. I felt like there were characters that were introduced kind of for no reason and didn't get much depth to them, and it just kind of felt like a bit of a pointless book. I don't think Slammed needed a follow-up, let alone 2, so I gave this one 2 stars. And then we have This Girl, which was literally the worst book I've ever read in my life. I gave this 1.25 stars because I did get through it. I didn't DNF it or anything, but overall I just didn't like it. It felt so unnecessary to have the book from Will's point of view, saying stuff that we literally already knew. I feel like it's added absolutely nothing new to the book, and if anything made me like Will even less, so really wasn't a fan of that one. It's basically just a retelling of the 1st book but from his point of view. Then we had Losing Hope, which I actually liked a lot more than Hopeless because I didn't like Hopeless, which is the 1st in the series. I gave this one 3.25 stars. This is basically just Hopeless from Dean's point of view, but compared to This Girl you get a lot more background in this from before they even met, like before where the 1st book starts, which I really appreciated. And I think this story lends itself to a 2nd point of view because I feel like in Hopeless Dean seems to have like a lot of secrets and stuff, whereas Will just doesn't in This Girl, and like didn't really add anything, but this one I felt like really added to it, and I did like it a lot more than Hopeless. Then I read Finding Cinderella on my Kindle Unlimited. I gave this one at 3.5 stars. This is part of the Hopeless / All Your Perfect series, and it kind of is the story of Daniel and Six, that are two side characters, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one, as I said, 3.5 stars. I definitely was very pleased with it as a novella. It was quite cute, quite easy to read, and definitely a very fun read. Then we had Finding Perfect, which is the one that kind of ties them all together. I gave this one 4 stars. I don't really rate novellas that highly normally, but this one I absolutely loved. I loved the way the characters were tied together, and I was just really happy with the way that it ended. It made me a little bit emotional seeing the characters from All Your Perfects again, because I love that book so much. But yeah, really enjoyed that one. Then I read Terms and Conditions. So this is the second book in the Dreamlands Billionaires series. I read the fine print last month, I believe, so I was very excited to pick this one up. I finished this one on the 11th of August, and I gave this one a 4.75 rating. I absolutely loved this. Can't remember why I didn't give it a full 5 stars. I guess it just didn't like hit me like right here, but I really enjoyed it. I loved Iris and I loved Declan. I do think the third act conflict was quite bad for me. Like, I don't know if that was something that I would personally forgive. Like, I thought it was really bad, but there was good groveling in here that I did appreciate, and overall I really liked this book. I thought it was really cute. I love that it ties in the couple from the fine print. Also has a few like very minor links to the Dirty Air series by her, the kind of F1 racing one that I'm also reading at the moment. But overall I really enjoyed this one, so I definitely would recommend that. And I'm very excited for the next book in the series to come out. And also these covers are literally my favorite thing ever. They are stunning, so that'll be going on a top shelf for me. Then we have one that I bought this month that is a bit new for me. This is a short story collection, and this is Milk Blood Heat. But I finished this one on the 13th of August, and I gave this a full 5 stars. I love this one. It's just kind of a collection of stories. It says on the back that it's about human connection, race, womanhood, inheritance, and it's all told through the stories and lives of ordinary people confronted by extraordinary moments of reckoning. There were some in here that kind of weren't quite as good as others, but there are a few stories in here that were just exceptional, like some that literally like had such a big plot twist, or just like I was like so weirded out by, but like in a good way. And I really loved the writing in here. It's reasonably short, but I literally wanted to like stop myself from reading this every time I finished one of the little stories, because I didn't want it to end. So I like fully like forced myself not to read it all in one go, which I definitely could have done because it is reasonably short. But yeah, this was my first short story collection, and I absolutely love this. So this is another top shelf book for me, full 5 stars. Then we have Meet Me in Another Life. So this book I was really excited for. It kind of played on the like idea of soulmates and stuff, which I really liked, and each chapter at the start anyway is kind of about how these people know each other in like different lives. So there'll be like different people to each other. Like, it's not necessarily about romantic love, because sometimes they're like married, or other times like they're like father and daughter or things like that. Different types of like ways that people are connected to each other. So I really liked this at first, and I really thought it was going to be a 5-star read, and then the end just took a really weird turn that I wasn't expecting at all. So that's what bumped it down for me, because it was just kind of like, oh, that's really weird. So I did give this a 4.25 stars. I finished this one on the 17th of August, and I did like it a lot, but like it was just a little bit weird to me, like just the way that it completely changed direction. I was not expecting at all. But anyway, I did enjoy it overall. It is a 4.25 for me. Probably not a top shelf book, but overall I did like it a lot. Then we have My Policeman, which I'm so pleased to have read because I've been wanting to read this forever. This is kind of a 1950s book, which isn't normally for me. It's like set obviously in the 1950s, and it is about a gay man and his wife, told from the perspective of his wife and his lover slash boyfriend. It's a bit complicated because obviously in the 1950s it was illegal to be gay, and it's kind of about how she's like fully obsessed with him, and it's very just interesting to read because you get like a now and then like in the past where they first met. So it's very interesting. I gave this one a 3.5 stars. I did like it, and I was definitely very gripped by it. It was one that definitely I didn't want to put down, but overall it was just a little bit, I don't really know why I didn't give it like a 5 stars, because there was nothing wrong with it per se, but I just thought the ending was a bit weird, and like I don't really know, like it just it just fell a little bit flat for me. Nothing really critical about the book or the writing itself. Yeah, I really don't know what to say. I just gave it a 3.5. I very much kind of stick by that. It's a good book, I would definitely recommend, but yeah, 3.5 for me. Then we have the first audiobook of the month, which was Dial A for Aunties. I gave this one 2 stars. I didn't love this. I loved the kind of family dynamic. I thought that was quite fun. That's why I bumped it up as a 2 stars. But this was just such an unbelievable story. And obviously it's a book. It doesn't have to necessarily be believable. But it just seems so wild. And like the romance in it was just a bit odd to me. And like overall it was just very weird to me. Like I wouldn't really know how to describe this book because there's elements of romance. It's more of, I guess, a family story. It's definitely not, it's like, but there's also like a dead body that they're trying to like hide, which is in the blurb. That's not a spoiler. And it's just really odd, and I just didn't like it, and I found it quite dull, to be honest, so I didn't like that one too much. I gave that one a 2 stars. Then we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, which I have been struggling to get through for like 2 months now. This is such a hyped up book, and I gave this 2 stars. I didn't like this. Knox, the main love interest, gave me the biggest ick of my life. I can't even describe it. He was just like so cringy. At one point, they're not even together, and he picks her up over his shoulder, slaps her ass in like the middle of like a cafe or whatever, like that he owns, like a diner, and then just like carries her out. And like, I don't know about you, but that like icks me out so badly. I don't know why. And like, he would just be like mean to her for no reason. And one of my least favorite tropes are kind of like, we can't be together because I would be bad for you, so I'm gonna like not be with you because I know I would be bad for you. Like, it just seems a bit stupid to me because like, you're not letting someone make their own decisions. And I just really was not a fan of this book. It's like 575 pages, which is ridiculous. It was so long for no reason, and I'm getting really animated now because I don't understand how this has such a high rating. Because Waylay, the daughter in this, like her niece, I guess, that she has to kind of adopt, again on the blurb, basically the premise of this is that her evil twin sister has told her to come into town, she needs help, and then she's dumped her with her daughter and stolen her car and gone off. So Naomi, the main character, has to look after Waylay, the niece, and just kind of like trying to earn money or whatever. But Waylay, I loved in this. She was probably the most mature character in this book, and she's meant to be like 12, I think. So overall, did not love this. The main characters were just so immature, and overall I was just not having a good time. I struggled to get through this. Then on the complete other end of the scale, we have Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I adored this book so much. I finished this on the 24th of August and gave it a full 5 stars. I adored this book so much. I loved it just as much as I loved The Love Hypothesis. I thought this was so good. I loved B. I really like Levi as well. It's more of a slow burn, which is nice because I read a lot of non-slow burn books, I guess. But overall, I really enjoyed this. There was a plot line at the end that just came so out of left field and was kind of unbelievable, but I'm just going to pretend to ignore that bit. Like the bit with the cat and everything that revolves around that at the end was just really bizarre. Like, I'm not trying to spoil, the cat's not like a main part of it, but like, you will know the scene I'm talking about if you've read the book. That was really weird to me, but I'm just going to ignore that and still give this a full 5 stars. I absolutely adored this book. I thought it was so cute. I love Ali Hazelwood's writing, so I'm really excited to definitely read the novellas in the next few months. She's got like 3 novellas in a series, I believe, and I definitely want to read them. So yeah, absolutely adored this one. Again, another top shelf book for me. Then we have Every Summer After, which is a kind of friends to lovers, childhood friends to lovers, which is one of my favorite tropes ever. I finished this one on the 25th of August and gave this one a 4.75 stars. This was so cute. You get then and now kind of for, I believe it's 5 summers. They were best friends, and then they dated at the end, and then they like stopped talking completely. So it's about kind of why they stopped talking, like what happened. I will say, the reason they stopped talking, it was like major, it was like very big, and that's what dropped it down not to a full 5 stars, because I mean, it's been a long time, so I can understand why it could be forgiven, but for me personally, it's like a big thing. Like, it's big. It's not like a miscommunication type of thing. Like, it's big. So I personally dropped it down 0.25 for that, because I absolutely adored the book otherwise, and I still adored it with that, and like, I understand how the end came about and why it came about, but I personally just could not give it the full 5 stars for that reason. But overall, 2.5. I really adored this, and I loved Sam in this. I thought it was so lovely, and like the cover, and it just makes me want to read Love and Other Words because apparently it's very similar, and I absolutely adored this one. So that's probably going to go on the top shelf. It will be replaced eventually because it's not a full 5 stars, but it's going on the top shelf for now. Then we have You've Reached Sam, which I gave a 4 stars to, and I finished this on the 25th as well. This was such a cute book, very emotional, very impactful as well, but I personally didn't cry, but overall I really adored this. It's about Julie, whose boyfriend's died, and then she calls his phone and he's able to pick up and they're able to talk to each other for a bit. But I really like this story. I thought it dealt really well with grief, obviously, and I really liked the way that it handled it. And I just thought, firstly, this cover's gorgeous, and overall I really liked the story, and I thought it was really good. I was actually really pleased with it. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one, and I heard a lot about it, and it's YA, so I wasn't 100% sure how good it would be, but definitely a 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. Then we have my non-fiction book of the month, which was Dead Aid, which I found so dull. I love the topic because I'm doing human geography at uni, and like Africa and aid in Africa and stuff like that is something that's really interesting to me. I literally gave this book 1 star. It was incredibly dull. Like, it was so dull the way it was written. I know it's a bit old, so that's kind of part of the reason maybe why it's not completely like up to date, but like it just, even besides that, like the way it was written, it just was so dull. It felt like there were just like facts and facts and facts kind of poured at you, and it was just like, I can't, like figures and like so many just numbers, and I was like, can we not whittle this down a bit? Like, can we not make it more interesting? So it literally took me so long to get through this tiny book. The subjects interest me. I've read non-fiction books before and been absolutely fine with it, so I really just think it's the way this was written. So yeah, gave this one a 1 star. Like, I did not enjoy this at all, so would not recommend, and that will probably get donated to the charity shop very quickly. But I do have to keep it for my end of year wrap up. But besides that, charity shop, it was really not very good at all, I can't lie. So then now we just have kind of ebooks and audiobooks to go through. Sorry if the angles change slightly. I had to delete a bunch of stuff off my memory card because I ran out of storage. But the next book I read was Fix Her Up, which is the first book in the Hot and Hammered series by Tessa Bailey. I gave this one 1.5 stars. The plot was okay, but the main character was disgustingly icky. He was so bad. He used baby girl in every other sentence. He referred to his own as 2 bats because he was like a baseball player, and also at points referred to it in the 3rd person. So icky. The sex scenes in this book gave me the biggest ick ever. I couldn't stop laughing and cringing, like laughing out loud. It was horrendous. I mean, listening to sex scenes on an audiobook is a bit neither here nor there. Like, it's a bit awkward, but these were just so bad, like so bad. But overall, all the plot was fine. I gave it 1.5. I will read the rest in the series because I can get them for free on audiobooks, so it's fine. But yeah, it was not good. It was not good. It was just, Travis like was so bad, so bad. Anyway, moving on, the next book we had was Wrecked, which is the 3rd book in the Dirty Air series. Definitely my favourite Dirty Air book so far by far. I gave the highest one I've given so far is I think 3.25 maybe, and I gave this one 4.25 stars. I loved this book. I thought it was so good. I really loved Jax and Elena. I thought they were really good together. It was a good kind of like enemies-ish to lovers, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. I can't remember my exact thoughts on it. I think I finished it in a reading vlog that you will see at some point soon, and another 24-hour readathon, but I will give more thoughts on it in that. I believe I did. Overall, very good. I did enjoy it. Then I read The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I read this on my phone and I really enjoyed this. This was such a cute friends to lovers fake dating book. I gave this 3.75 stars. I do think the ending was so unnecessary. I don't like things like that in books, and I didn't like it. It felt very rushed in terms of their relationship, and I didn't enjoy it at all, and that's why this bumped it down definitely from a 4 star for me to a 3.75. but overall I did like the book. I did find it a little bit annoying because it's one where they're both in love with each other but they think the other is, and it's like, it's so obvious. Overall I did enjoy it. I really liked it. And then lastly I read all 4 Heartstopper books. So I did give them all pretty much the same rating. I gave them all 3 stars besides the last one that I gave 3.25 stars. I was a little bit disappointed with these. I thought they were very cute. I've watched the TV show and I much prefer the TV show. I feel like it fits better in a TV format. But the graphic novels, I don't know whether I'm just not the right age for them. I feel like they're better for maybe like a 12-13 year old. They just seem very young and everything is very blunt. Like the topics that they deal with, it very much feels like an educational thing, like rather than something that kind of feels natural in the story. Like some of the speech just feels really unnatural and just kind of very on the nose, and also I feel like there wasn't very much depth to the characters. I don't know whether that's normal for graphic novels, but I just really didn't feel like there was very much depth to any of the characters. Don't know that's whether it's because of the way that the book was, like in a graphic novel format, but I overall didn't like them that much. Like I liked the stories, but the actual books themselves I wasn't a fan of at all. So that was a bit disappointing for me, but overall we had a very good reading month, definitely my best reading month yet, and now I'm way less behind on my kind of reading goal for this year. I want to read 100 books and I am currently on 63, so only 3 books behind schedule, whereas I was 13 books behind schedule at the start of the month, I believe. But yeah, very positive reading month. I was very happy with all the books I managed to read. We have some new favourites here as well, which I'm very pleased about. So yeah, overall a very good month. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like down below, hit subscribe, turn on the bell to join a little club, and make sure you turn on all notifications, and then you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. If you want to watch one of my other videos, there'll be 2 on the screen now to pick from, as well as a logo linked up in the cards from earlier. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!